he is chosen. I hate this. And President Snow's. I swear to God. I know. This must have. Hi, I'm Dubby, but you can call me Dubs. So before I start this book review, I want to talk a little bit about the Black Lives Matter movement, and I think it's important that I use my platform to bring awareness to you guys about it if you don't know about it. And basically this is a movement because of the oppression of Black lives and Black people, and it was recently brought to light because of the murder of George Floyd, and I find it sad that it took the killing of a man, even though so many others have been killed before, to actually bring light to this situation. And some important things that I want you guys to do is educate yourselves on how to help and about it and how long it's been going on and things like that. And if you guys are looking for ways to help this movement, I would say one is bring awareness to it. Use any type of platform that you have to tell people about it. Also, sign petitions. There are a lot of petitions out there that you can sign helping. And then the third thing that I would say is donate either to organizations, but even if you don't have the money to donate, then you can there are different ways to donate. For example, lots of creators have created videos with monetization where they're taking all of their earnings from that video to donate to organizations like Black Lives Matter. You can look it up. They're there. And all you have to do is just don't skip any ads, watch through all of them. And then there's also things like there's an app where people created this app that all of this earnings and money from the ads from that app are going to Black Lives Matter organizations. There's an entire website on this. It's called blacklivesmatter.carrd.co. I'll link it in the description. It describes a lot of ways to educate yourself, to help, and it provides a lot of links for you to donate and lots of petitions for you to sign and things like that. So yeah. Bonk. So today I'm reviewing The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. This book is the prequel of the Hunger Games trilogy, and it's the prequel, so it's set before. And this book came out very recently, and lots of people have been reading it. And so here's my review on it, if you guys haven't read it yet, to see if you guys want to read it or not. So this story is about the villain or antagonist of the Hunger Games trilogy, President Snow. But it's not about President Snow in his years as a president, it's about him in his younger teenage years. And President Snow's family is known to be very rich. However, in reality, their family is actually very poor, and they struggle to pay rent and to afford food. And President Snow in this book, or teenage Snow in this book, is chosen to be a mentor in the 10th anniversary of the Hunger Games. And his tribute that he is meant to mentor is Lucy Gray Baird, who is the female tribute of District 12. Sounds very familiar. Katniss. And Lucy Gray Baird is a singer in District 12, but she's not really district. She doesn't come from the district or the capital. She comes from the Covey family, and her musical group perform in District 12 for money and food. And she barely has any chance of winning. So I ended up enjoying this book. I gave it 3.5 to 4 stars, and I know a lot of people didn't like it and give it 1 star, 2 star, but I think it was good. I liked it. It was intriguing, and it was actionate, and I liked it. One thing that I think made this book so interesting to me was how many moral, political, and philosophical topics that were discussed in this book between President Snow. I keep saying President Snow, but he's not a president yet. Coriolanus, that's his first name. Coriolanus Snow and Dr. Gale. Stop saying Gale. It's Gaul. The head game maker is Dr. Gaul. which is the head game maker. It was mostly between those two characters that these political topics were discussed. However, it was also discussed between different characters as well. And I found that these topics were one of the things that made this book so interesting to me, because me personally, I love listening to questions and topics and having arguments and stuff like that. Yeah, that's so interesting to me, how there were so many different moral questions, ethical questions, and things like that. So one example was, in this story, the head game maker and Coriolanus Snow were talking about if the Hunger Games was actually a good idea, and Dr. Gale, the head game maker, she believed that humans had this in their nature, that they were naturally very violent, and if there was no government in place, that humans would lash out and kill each other. And they also talked about control. How is it actually important or not? Does control lead to chaos? Things like that. And it perked up questions like that. And the school that Coriolanus went to, there were a lot of assignments in that school where it was write an essay or something like that, describing how we would make people watch the Hunger Games, or how is control important, and things like that. One thing that I found interesting in this book was that I feel like Coriolanus Snow was almost putting on a personality, because his personality would keep changing, even though his thoughts and his ideas for the most part stayed the same. His personality started off he was very cold and strict, and then he became very caring and sympathetic. Then he became very proud and determined. And yeah, his personality kept changing, and I don't know if Suzanne Collins did this on purpose, but it kind of felt like he was almost putting on a personality for Lucy Gray Baird, or for the Hunger Games. And that made me care about him for part of it, but then not care about him. And my feelings on him kept changing because of his personality. So I felt that was important, or interesting. So, kind of relating to what I just said, because Coriolanus's personality was shifting and changing all the time, and it was almost like he was putting on a personality, I found that this book was less of a villain story of the villain in the Hunger Games, but it was more of a history, or a what happened before the Hunger Games. It didn't make you care about the villain, and it didn't give a sentimental backstory like a lot of villain stories do. And I feel I don't know if the author did that on purpose, but it was less of a villain story and more of a history book. But interesting. So I found this in a ton of different reviews, and book reviews, Goodreads reviews. So many booktubers have been saying this, and I also agree that the pacing was weird in this book, because there was a ton of anticipation and build up towards the actual Hunger Games, the games, and then the games were only a couple 100 pages long. And then after the games were over, there were so many pages left that it left me thinking, oh, this is going to end soon. Oh, it's going to end soon. I never knew when it was going to end, because it kept going on, even though it felt like the end was already there. Which, I mean, I guess it's not bad, but it's not that great either. And also, I feel the beginning was a bit long too. It was beginning, and then the Hunger Games, and then the end. And for the beginning, it was a lot of talking about how the Hunger Games were very different from the Hunger Games in the trilogy, and how it wasn't very polished yet. And I feel Suzanne Collins took so many pages talking about that, and I feel that could have been shortened a little bit, in my opinion. I also think that in this book, I wish that there was more action to the games. While for a regular book, if this was a regular action adventure sci-fi dystopian book, I would be yes, this is good. I like this. But compared to the trilogy, because it's by the same author and stuff, I would wish that there was more to it, like there was more action to it, especially to the Hunger Games part. It was like anticlimactic. There was so much like potential to it, and then it wasn't that action filled. So one thing that I want to say about this story is that even though the pacing of the story was weird and like the proportions of each, like the beginning, middle, and end were kind of like off, I feel like the plot of this story was still very good. Like I really liked seeing Coriolanus's background and his backstory, and not how he became evil, but like more were those thoughts in him like from his teenage years and things like that. I really liked seeing that in the plot of the story and in the storyline. Also, when I got this book in the mail, because I got it off of Amazon, the first thing that I noticed was the cover. It's so pretty, and it's like matching with the other ones, like the Mockingjay. And I don't know, I feel like these two colors, like green and gold, work so well together. Also, look at this. So like, and this part. It's so pretty. It's like what you would get like in like a classic like old style book. Like like, oh, it's so pretty. I don't know. I just love how I love when there's designs on like on hardcover books when you take off like the cover. Yeah. This is a hardcover too. If this doesn't have anything, I'm gonna be very disappointed. It does! Yes! I don't think it's as cool as the Songbirds, but yes. So I really wanted to talk about the ending in this book review, but like obviously spoilers, so I can't. But the ending, I really liked it. It escalated very quickly, and it was so like, it was a very like dun 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 moment where it was like, I was definitely not expecting that from the ending. It was very like shocking, and it was like, I don't know, it was everything that you want in a good like ending, but it wasn't a cliffhanger. Like it wasn't that much of a cliffhanger, just like a plot twist kind of. Overall, I did really enjoy this book. Suzanne Collins really has the ability to make you care about the characters. Not just Coriolanus, but there were so many different characters in this story, like Lucy Gray Baird, Sejanus. I don't know if that's how you spell your name. Say his name. And there were so many like different characters in this book that Suzanne Collins had the ability to make you like really care about them and like think nothing can ever happen to them. And I think that there was good action and adventure in this book, and it was a well done book. So that would be the end of my book review. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked this video, then like this video and subscribe for more content like this. Happy reading!